I want to do something a little different. And I am wanting to go on a journey, and anything that you want to change in your life, I think having accountability is important, and showing up for yourself is important. And this is something I've struggled with for a long time, and I know there's many layers to this, so I think talking through it with you would be cathartic for me. And I'm doing this on YouTube because I don't know as many people personally as I do on my Instagram, and I am going to mention some specific people, not by name, so I want to feel somewhat free to do that. So I would like to practice decentering work. This doesn't sound particularly deep, but again, I know there's many layers to this, and I have this pattern in my life of really putting my employers on a pedestal, and it has its upsides where I am generally seen as like a good employee, and I think good and valuable are different, and I think I am not prioritizing myself and my desires often. And there's many scenarios and examples I'll give over time, but essentially I have this trigger moment coming up next month, this event where I do these trade shows for my work now, and they are very stressful for me. I am a team of one. I'm a marketing manager for an aerospace company. And when it comes to planning events, I'm managing all of the logistics, helping people with their travel, meaning like make sure they understand when they need to arrive, when they can leave, everything to do with setting up our booth, all of the messaging, the visuals, any signage that we need. Often we'll do other things around the event, like press releases and update our sales collateral and creating an experience for the people that come into the booth. Sometimes we host private events or do side meetings. As I'm saying this out loud, like I want to cry. I realize how much it is. And it's just me, really. Like my team is there for input. They help set up the booth, but it's all my responsibility, and I'm holding all these details in my head. And a lot of this is self-induced. I'm not always great about asking for help, and I tend to mom people, and I'm the only woman on my team and one of the few women in my company, and sometimes I end up doing a lot of the admin type work and saying, why am I doing this? How did this happen? We're gonna leave that in because we're gonna keep these real and not do a lot of editing. So in order to unravel this, I think there's a lot to unpack in terms of fawning and perfectionism, and let's plug the mic back in. And feeling like I need to move myself and I need to bend over backwards, and I really admire people that are like, oh, I called out today because I wasn't feeling great. I knew I wasn't going to do my best work. And not that I don't think I'll ever get to the point where I'm irresponsible. It's just not in me. Maybe it should be more than it is. But I want to get to a point where I'm not, like I am prioritizing myself. When I need to do that, I feel like I can do that. The other thing that really makes me sad about this and makes me want to transform this is this event is always at the end of the summer. It's always in August, and I spend the whole summer a basket case. And my kids are off, and these are precious years that I'm never going to get back, and they want to engage with me, and I'm like, not right now. I have a meeting in 5 minutes I'm not prepared for, and not because I procrastinated, but I feel like I have to overdo it. There's so much here, it's hard to know where to begin. But an observation I'll throw out there right now is I'll show up to weekly team meetings and I'll like prepare slides and show reports and what's coming next, and like very prepared for, I never go into a meeting not prepared. And I'll have colleagues that are just like, just show up like they just rolled out of bed, and none of the work they were supposed to get done last week has been done, and they have some vague excuse, and they don't get fired and they're fine. They're just like, people roll their eyes like, oh, it's frustrating, but they're they don't get fired for it. So I'm like doing the most and killing myself. And by laying all my work out there like that, I also open myself up to scrutiny, like, well, what about this? And have you thought about this? And I appreciate people trying to give me feedback and be supportive. But if I hadn't shared any of that, I could just move along and not have all this pushback. And maybe I need to do that more. And I'm throwing out a couple of just things that are frustrating, because these are the types of things I want to work through. There's also this pattern of, I'll explain something I'm about to do, like, we're about to roll out this campaign, or even something simpler than that. Like, that's a big thing I would get buy-in on, but I'm about to start working with the leadership team on something. I'm going to be scheduling meetings to talk about this. And then it's really this one particular colleague, but this is a pattern that will say, you really should get on that. You should do that because blah, blah, blah. And it's really important that we do that. And they'll basically reiterate what I just said, but saying it like I'm already behind the 8 ball and I'm not doing it. And this happens enough that I'm like, does that just happen again? Or that person literally just said what I just said? And it's like easy to write it off as mansplaining. And I want to sometimes, but I think there's more to it. There's something in me that evokes this in a lot of people. And I need to figure out what that is. I need to figure out when to take personal responsibility and when to be like, that is that person's problem. Because I don't ever want to be someone that's like, everyone else is the problem. It's never me. But I think I lean a little too much into how am I responsible for this and take too much responsibility for other people's behavior. I'd like to learn how to not do that and get better at setting boundaries. Now let's take this back a little bit to what happened in the past. Let's call it almost 10 years at this point. I have a pattern of getting involved with bosses, supervisors that are brilliant, talented, capable of achieving great things through their ideas and their creativity and ability to think outside the box, but also tend to have some mildly narcissistic traits and struggle with executive functioning, so have really big ideas but struggle with staying consistent enough to execute. And I tend to be that person that's like, I can make your dreams come true. I am excellent at planning and seeing what's ahead and laying things out step by step, getting super detailed, but also keeping that like creative energy and that cheerleader energy and like believing in them. And I basically become their narcissistic supply in a way, because I just pump them up. But I ultimately end up so drained and frustrated because I'll pour my heart into something and we don't get to see it through because they've moved on, or they have a new idea they're more focused on, and it just is so exhausting for me to function like that. And I think these particular people have thrived in that state of chaos and newness, and that's a personality trait, and it's also in line with traits of having ADHD, and both of these people have admitted that they do. And I also have a son that has ADHD, so this seems like a theme in my life. And what is so maddening is to be able to see it all. And this is what happens when I have these big events like this August event, to be able to see it all. Like, okay, this event is in 4 months. I can see the entire to-do list in my head, not to mention the things that will just come up. And I also have noticed how maybe this thing should only take a few weeks, but because this person's on vacation and they couldn't approve it, and then the partner didn't like this, so we had to go back, and I know this thing that maybe should take 3 weeks ends up taking 6. And now I've been in this role almost 4 years, so this has been like consistent, but I feel like they don't believe me. When I say like, let's start working on this now, I have more important things to do. My attention is elsewhere. I have revenue driving activity to focus on at this moment. This isn't important, but I know it's going to come down to those few days before the deadline they're going to have family in town, and now I feel like I'm asking them to do this thing, and they're having to put off their family, and now it's on me that I didn't do it, that now it's coming down to this, even though I saw this coming for weeks. And I just end up in tears, just like so frustrated and so overwhelmed. Like, how did it get to this point? And there's a lot here, and I don't want to be a basket case this summer. It's already much better than it has been the past few years, and this is something I'll get into in another video. But this is really at the heart of what went on in the past 4 years in this new role. I had a very challenging supervisor. This person awakened something in me, and I don't think I really understood what anxiety was until I was in the orbit of this person. And I say this very intentionally. I'm not saying this person is terrible. I'm saying something was triggered in me with this person. Now, ultimately, this person struggled with a lot of people, and I think didn't realize it, and was ultimately released from their work because of their challenging personality. And I feel for that, especially when you're not self-aware and you don't realize that you're the common denominator. So it was validating. It wasn't just me. This person was ultimately let go because of their behavior and work style. But that doesn't change the fact that I put up with it. And I spent 3 years of my life in, I would say, pure terror. That sounds like an exaggeration, but in this constant sense of like worry about, what is this person going to be angry about? What are they going to get fixated on that I'm going to have to respond to? I need to be available all the time. I'm never doing enough, even though they praise me and say I'm wonderful. There's this like passive aggressive comments. It's kind of textbook codependent dynamic, but it's not about this person. I don't want to be the other end of a co-dynamic situation ever again. And I'm getting, like, things are coming up, and that's why I want to do this, because I think talking through it is really important. I think I have a little bit of PTSD from this situation, but generally I'm in life an upbeat person. I'm optimistic. I understand how important gratitude is, and I know that this is something really important for me to work through, and I'm hoping maybe it will help other people. Maybe nobody will watch this or care whatsoever, and that's fine. I think it's important to me to document and to share what I've learned. And hopefully by the time this event happens, I have a different perspective and I approach it very differently. So welcome to the journey. I'm Laura, and we're going to heal this.